Hey, friends. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hi, Andrea. This is Nicole from the Swing My Heart podcast. How are you?
Hello, I am well. Is that Zach Santiago behind you?
It is.
I thought so.
He's awesome. I met him at a fan event a couple years ago in West Palm
Oh,
Beach.
so
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I've worked with him a bunch. He's lovely.
Yes, he's great. It's so nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
So my first question for you is the Hearties are one of the most passionate fan bases on television. What has surprised you most about their connection to faith? And have fans ever shared stories about how her story has impacted them personally?
Ooh, fantastic question. Multifaceted question.
Yes.
I think the thing that surprises me about the Hardys is the encyclopedic knowledge that all of you have. And the reference points and so many people have seen the show over and over again and they know it better than I do, hands down. And that's always so surprising and amazing. And the fact that every little detail has a connection and that those connections are made and those connections end up bringing everyone together as well. So awesome. And it's always just a treat to get to see that. And when it comes to faith and stories and meeting people, yes, I get a lot of messages and I meet a lot of people who are nurses, doctors, first responders. I've had so many wonderful conversations with people who work in medicine, and it's such a great connection. And the one that makes me cry, I'm not going to do it here, but the one that makes me teary-eyed every time is when I get the messages from people who say, I went into nursing school because of faith, or your work as Dr. Carter has inspired me to work in medicine. I get a lot of messages from parents whose kids go on into the medical field. And that is just incredible. And it's just an honor. So yeah, I'd say that's how I connect with a lot of people via faith.
That's amazing. And I'm so glad that you're a part of the show. And I hope that the show goes on for many, many years to come.
Me too. Me
Yes.
too.
And I have to say, in the sense of, being a nurse, that hasn't impacted me personally, but I do have family. I do have an aunt who is a nurse, and then I do have a close cousin who is getting a degree to work in the medical field, I think
Wow.
for sonograms, I think if I remember
Wow,
correctly.
that's
So
amazing. That's
thank
important.
you for portraying such a wonderful character on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, Andrea. So nice to meet you.
Hi, Donna. Nice to meet you.
I'm from the Faith, Love, and Friendship podcast. My first question to you, with this last episode, which really kind of shook me because I've seen so many different facets and so many layers of faith. With retrospect to Lily and like how she's showing so much that she's relying on faith. Do you think, did Faith really think that this was going to turn out the way that it is? And do you think like she's starting to realize that it is really beyond anti-faith? It's a mother-daughter relationship.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. Um, and yeah, that's something that has come up with the writers as well. Because we're not an official mother-daughter team yet. But especially after episode 7 this season, it's that relationship is becoming more and more cemented with each passing season. And I would love to address that formal adoption. Is that possible? So you're absolutely right to pick up on that. And I think that that's kind of what that episode is potentially gearing up for. And I love that episode for so many reasons. Obviously it's a personal storyline as a working mom with little kids who has to leave the kids and go do her job. It's something that I relate to so much. I feel so many of the audience members will hopefully relate to as well. But it really levels up the faith Lily dynamic, I think. And when she passes her the pin, I think that was a moment of just forever connection between these two, that no matter what, like they are thick as thieves, they are family. And yeah, it's something that I would like to see addressed. I'd love to make it official. Now, obviously, we have a history of that on this show. We have gone through adoptions on our series before. So I think Faith would have people to go to ask those questions, to figure out the legalities. But that's definitely something that is on Faith's mind. I can promise you that.
Seems it. And I just have to say, Chloe seems like she's so cute to work with. She's a doll.
She's a total doll and a superstar. She is the most professional actor on our set. I can assure you, she knows all her lines. She hits her mark. She's fabulous. And it's also really fun watching her grow up on the show and her relationship with Highland, because they're best little buddies as well. And yeah, getting to see those dynamics play out with the kids is always so special.
Oh, it's got to be. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Andrea. It's Stephanie from the Heart and Motion podcast.
Hey, Stephanie.
Hi there. We met briefly in the hallway in 2024 at HFR. So it's nice to finally connect with you. So
nice to connect with you. I love those hallway interactions at HFR.
So you're always so good about giving us those behind the scenes moments, sometimes before the episode, sometimes after. So we love all of the effort that you put into bringing those moments to us. I'm curious if you could provide a little bit of behind the scenes. How soon before episode 8 did you know you would be taking on the role of Octavia? And can you take us behind the scenes of filming that moment? Because it was pretty amazing.
Oh, thank you. And yes, I absolutely can. I found out about this storyline. It had been teased to me early on when I spoke with Joy that there was something kind of fun and different happening, but I was really laser focused on the Faith Lily storyline from Seven. So that was kind of what I was channeling, what I was working on, and then this is just completely out of the blue, completely different for Faith. We've never seen her do anything like this before. And I was elated as somebody who went to university and studied film and is a huge fan of early cinema. Getting to shoot a scene in 16 frame per second, classic Hollywood style, was just unbelievable. It all came together at the last second, as usual. I think I had fittings right up until the day we shot that, because Aaron and I had to use the same dress, and we had to discuss makeup because our makeup had to be similar but still different because we are different iterations of the same character. So we were kind of planning right up until we got there, and we had a rough plan, but we just kind of had to throw ourselves into it. Juan and I had just met, I believe, that week, because we'd been working side by side, working on the same episodes, but not together. Yeah. So that we just got thrown into it. And I just kind of channeled my inner Charlie Chaplin, knowing how things are obviously a little bit more exaggerated. Back then, actors were very vaudevillian, so everything was very animated and open. And also knowing the truth of who Faith is was super fun, because she's so out of her element. But in this moment, she's completely lost herself, and she's completely there with Fernando, which, by the way, for the longtime viewers, you know that many, many years ago, Faith did ask Aaron to bring her a Mountie back once upon a time ago. In certain respects, that is happening right now. So when I found out that the character was also going to be a Mountie, I was like, oh, this is a huge, Easter egg for Hearties who've been with the show for a long time. So there was just so many elements. It was so different. And actually, I have some amazing behind the scenes footage from this episode, where I actually took a video when the camera pans and you see everyone's reaction to Faith and Fernando. I have a clip of that camera passing by everybody, and it was just so cool. I love a group scene. This is the most interesting reason to have a group scene. It's such a huge episode for Rosemary. I love that she's a director. Everything about this gets me excited. And if I had it my way, I would turn Hope Valley into a mini Hollywood, because I love everybody. I love the costumes. I love Ben at the camera. Just all the dynamics at play make for a perfect, movie within a movie.
It was so many. You talked about the panning even, and what Kristen Lehman did with that panning that we're going to see is pretty spectacular. And hey, we're
Oh,
in the 1920s, so we can
yep.
do more of those things now, right?
Absolutely. And yeah, shout out to Kristen. She was unbelievable at directing this episode or these episodes. She really crushed it. I'm very, very proud of her.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Andrea. So this is Rachel with Hallmark's podcast. Good to
Oh, hi,
talk to
Rachel.
you. Yeah, yeah. So do you think with Molly getting her nursing certification that Faith will be able to have more plot lines outside of the infirmary? Is that something you're looking forward to?
Yes, I think that that is actually a wonderful resolution. Things have been so busy at the infirmary this season with everything going on in Benson Hills. So you don't always see what Faith is up to, but she's, as we've explored through episode 7, she's just been completely immersed in the medical necessities that have been brought her
Yeah.
way. But I think Molly leveling up to nurse is long deserved. We've talked about this for years, that she's acting like a nurse, but she's not accredited. And why is
Uh-huh.
that? And I'm so happy that that was finally addressed because there have been scenes in past seasons where I'd be passing her medical equipment. I'd just be like, why are you not a nurse? You're a nurse. Right now you're a nurse. You're clearly a nurse. You need to have the nursing uniform. So I love this. I think it's great for the infirmary. It indicates that we are expanding as a town. And yes, I think that will potentially give a lot of relief to Faith, and it'll allow her to be out in the town more, out with Lily more. And I think it's huge for Molly as well, because now we're going to see her, certified and in her element doing her job too. So I think all around it's a wonderful choice. And
Hmm.
I think, yeah, it heightens everyone's dynamic.
Yeah. Because Faith's basically been an essential worker the last little while, and that's
Mhm.
been hard on her. And it must be a little bit frustrating as an actor that that you're kind of stuck with these sort of plot lines.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I love the medical plot lines. I'm always excited when Lee was coming in thinking he was having a heart attack. I love them. Some of my favorite scenes I've ever shot have been in the infirmary. So anytime someone comes in with an ailment, I'm happy because it's always different too. So even though
Uh-huh.
it's medical, it always involves a new
Yeah.
character, and I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, would it be fun to kind of get out and explore other things? Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
always for that.
Hey, Andrea. I'm Catherine with the Romcom Love Podcast.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Um,
you.
we talked a little bit about it with Chloe, but I am curious, what is something that Chloe has taught you? I mean, you've worked with children on this series in different elements, but of course, you're in a different role in the motherly auntie role.
Mhm.
But for this long of a period working with a child actor, what is something that you were surprised by?
Ooh, that's a great. I've never been asked a question like that. It's a great question. Um, Obviously, early on when she was cast, I knew that I had a huge responsibility because she would be with me most of the time. And I wanted to make sure that she didn't feel like she was ever forced to do anything or forced to be at work. I really wanted to ensure that we had a fun dynamic, that the work life was fun for her as well. And we're so fortunate it worked out that way. But just knowing that you are kind of the guide for a little child actor when you're connected via a storyline like this. Um, so yeah, I'd say that that was a challenge that I wanted to make sure I took very seriously. And what surprised me is just how quickly she would pick up on things. I mean, she had already acted quite a bit by the time she was on our show, but she had never had a role this big before, and she'd never been on something that went multiple episodes and now seasons. So it has allowed for a lot of room for growth for her. But what surprised me was just how quickly I would give her a little tidbit or be like, ooh, because I started acting when I was 15. So not her age,
Mhm.
but still a kid. And I would just give her little tidbits of information that I remember actors passing down to me when I was learning the ropes and growing as an actor, just about, where to stand or where to find your light, or just doing something like one thing that's tough for newer actors is props. Because if you do something, if you're eating a meal, you have to make sure with each take that you are matching that same action. And sometimes you get excited when there's props in front of you. You're like, oh, I want to touch all the things, which is great, but you have to memorize what you've done. And so I just remember having some of those little conversations with her, and I could just see it's like it programmed in her head. And then right away, she would do everything that I would suggest. And I just was in awe. She's just born to do what she's doing, and she's so brilliant. And she also reminds me to just be in the moment, because kids are really good at that when they're performing. So just being in the moment and finding little moments. Like there was a moment in the infirmary in episode 7 where we kind of like scrunched our noses at each other, and I just want to keep that kind of light childlike energy going between us. So yeah, it's always a thrill.
Well, I was at HFR 2024, and so that was her first year. And definitely, like, there was no fear in that girl when she came onto that stage, or at least that we saw. And you could tell that she was just a natural with even how she connected with us as the fans. So it's
Yeah.
amazing to watch her shine.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So Catherine mentioned Chloe and Lily. Are there small, quiet moments between Faith and Lily this season that might go unnoticed by viewers but mean a lot to you personally?
Ooh, that might go unnoticed. It's so funny because I feel like Hearties notice everything, even when you're like in the deep background and you don't even know if the camera's on you. I feel like everybody, like the Hearties are so eagle-eyed. They notice everything. I will say during Oliver's birthday party, that was a really, really long shoot day. A lot of us were there, and it was the hottest day of the summer. And I think I put this on social media. The crayons, there were wax crayons that the props department actually made, and they were melting in the sun. So little Lily, little Chloe and I were at the very back. So I think the camera kind of starts on us and then moves back, and then we see the whole party. We were coloring. We were having little coloring contests before the crayons were melting. So you can see us back there doing something, but that's what it was. So yeah, we always, whenever there's something fun, or a lot of the kids have their little, dog or their little toys, we try to kind of integrate that into just behind the scenes hanging out. And yeah, I'd say, yeah, watch the little coloring moment was very real. We were very, I think we colored something like 15 pictures that day of birds.
That's amazing. I loved that moment. That was actually one that I did catch, and I can't wait for all the moments to come with Faith and Lily. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I was watching a previous interview that you did, and this kind of shook me. We met Faith back all the way in season 2, which I can't believe it's been that long. And
Me neither.
But what shocked me was you didn't think that Faith was going to be so essential as she's been. Like, what's been your biggest takeaway? Because I feel like we've watched Faith grow from relationship with Carson to now with Lily, and you've had your own. So, like, what has been your biggest takeaway with being a part of this fan base? And did you have like any familiarity before you came to the show about the Hardys?
Whoa, good question. Obviously being with this show for this many years is the greatest gift. I'd say it's like a fraction of a percentage of actors get to experience playing a character for this many years. And in so many ways, I feel like I've grown up alongside Faith, and we've had similar journeys too. Obviously I'm a mother now. I was not. I was like a 24-year-old fresh out of grad school. I had been living back in Los Angeles part-time, in Canada part-time, and everything was, that crazy at that time in my life. And then I kind of fell onto this show, and it's shocking when I think back, and it's basically my entire adult life has been touched by this series and the people in it. So I think about that all the time and just feel so overjoyed. I knew about the show as soon as it started shooting, because I auditioned for it a couple of times before I ended up with the role of Faith. And I just wanted to be on it more than anything. Yes, I auditioned for Julie, for Aaron's sister, Julie, near the beginning of season 1, or I guess very early in season 1. And it got to the point through the audition process where they were like, "Will you dye your hair tomorrow?" And I remember being like, maybe. Do I have the role? I don't know.
Maybe.
Because they needed my hair to match Erin's or be at least a darker shade.
Mhm.
And nothing happened. I didn't get it, so I guess good thing I didn't dye my hair. But it was a question, so it means that I was in consideration at that point. Didn't get
Mhm.
it. Was asked to come back in for the role of Clara. Didn't get that. And then the season ended, and I was actually in Los Angeles staying with a friend when I got the call, "Can you come in tomorrow to read for this nurse character?" And I was like, "Oh, I want on this show more than anything, but no, I can't. There's like, I would have to fly now. Like, it's like, ooh." This was obviously years ago, and I had my very old, I think it was my first Apple laptop with me, and I was staying with my friend who was going to be moving out of her apartment soon, and she had no lighting. And she had to go out for a hair appointment. And I was like, "Okay, you go, and I'm going to self-tape this on my old Mac," which like reversed the image. And it was the
Mhm.
worst audition tape quality wise of all time. And I think I recorded myself on a phone or a recording device of some kind. Anyway, I threw together this audition, and I remember there were two scenes, and they were two scenes that ended up in season two. And I remember thinking, like, I can do this. Like, I know I can do this. Sent it off to my agent. I don't even know if he could see the image, but he sent it through to casting. And then I got a call, I think it was just the next morning, being like, "You've got it." So fortunate. So fortunate that happened. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the lore of how Faith came to be. But they had seen me. I guess they knew who I was from the previous two auditions, and it was just a matter of finding the right fit, and the right fit was Faith.
And you have done unbelievably, just such a wonderful job. We all love Faith. I love Faith.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We've got a great moment with Faith and Edie and May outside, kind of having a little gals moment. It kind
Yeah.
of reminds me of when they are back in season 10 watching Nathan as he's trying to train Scout
Right.
outside, and it's a little gals moment. So,
Yep.
can you talk a little bit about making that moment and what that was like? But then also, now that Faith and Elizabeth have kind of talked about balancing motherhood, and Faith has had this moment with the girls, will we get to see more of that, really kind of connecting to her personal life in the rest of the season at all?
Ooh, good question. Um, Obviously, yeah, going forward, these motherly connections I think are integral. I know that's something that Joy says she loves focusing on is mother-child dynamics, and she's done that for everybody. But yeah, in terms of bridging that together, yes, you'll see more of that. You will. And the gal pal moments, I am living for it. I had not had a proper scene with Miranda until that day, like finally. And we it just felt like we were hanging out because we shoot our scene and then we walk back to where we're hanging out, which is usually, and when we're shooting in the town, we usually all hang out in the saloon because there's enough space for all of us. Uh, and it just kind of feels like one continuation. You're having a conversation in the saloon while you're waiting for them to set up. You make your way over, you shoot your scene, and when they're not filming, we continue our conversation. So it just felt like that gal pal energy was obviously there because we have that in real life. So it was really fun to kind of continue it on and then channel it into our characters. And I love it because we interrupt her and while she's working, and then Pascal interrupts us, and then everything's chaotic. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun, positive, enthusiastic female energy. And I'm all about that. I think everyone who watches our show connects to those moments. So the more gal pal hangout energy, the better.
Yeah, we love the romance, but we also love it when our gals can get together. So it
Yeah.
was a fun moment to watch.
Yeah. Oh, and then Fernando interrupts us also. So it's the scene of interruptions.
Would we say that the ladies were a bit enamored were they wooed by should we call it his aura?
Yeah. Yeah. totally enchanted, which I think we were supposed to be. We were like, who is this? What is happening? But I remember making fun of Amanda because I was like, you are recently married, May. Like,
Yes.
watch her, she's a little too enthusiastic. So we were having that conversation in between takes about like, how Hickam wouldn't like this.
That's true. That's true. Thanks.
So I'm curious, going on with sort of potential romance for Faith, why do you think that she has been sort of unlucky in love? And do you think that she will, if she were to enter a relationship with Fernando or anybody else, do you think that she'll enter it with confidence or be kind of insecure because of the somewhat bad luck?
That is a great question. Ooh, trepidation because it's been a bumpy past.
Yeah.
Confidence. I've thought about this, and I think Faith has changed so much in the past 5 years. She's grown up. I feel like she's really in her adult shoes now. I think that she's earned a lot of that confidence from really working so diligently as a doctor, but also through Lily and just knowing what's really important now. I think in the past, if you go revisit the Carson Faith relationship, there were some immature moments with Faith. I think she got upset about things that she probably shouldn't have gotten upset about, or they argued about things that they just didn't handle themselves perfectly. And I do think that if she were in a relationship now, she would take what she's learned, and I think she would channel it differently. So I think you would get a more refined version of Faith in a relationship, but I also think she'll be a lot more cautious because she knows that she's got a little girl who looks up to her. So double-sided kind of response there. I think you'd get cautious for the right reasons, but I think she wouldn't care about the petty things as much.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, as we've talked about, you've had 12 seasons under your belt. I am curious if you would be able to narrow down, like maybe a top three that kind of just always stick in your mind, with either just because they brought adventure to your character or it was a hearty sit and talk. If you could, it's a lot of seasons. So, if you have a top three.
So top three seasons that stick out in my
no,
mind.
like scenes for you, like as your character for her growth too. Like, so like, like one of my favorite ones is I loved like with Faith and Nathan with the really like the push and pull and like the wagon scene where it's just like, I didn't need your help. So you've had a lot, you have the obviously like the little Jack conversation and to Nathan and Elizabeth about the diabetes. You've got those heartfelt ones, but then you also get those fun moments that just kind of surprise. I probably, you too as a character. So I was just curious if you had a top three you could narrow down.
Okay, so top three scenes.
Yeah.
Out of 12 seasons.
I know. I just thought we'd maybe go for a challenge.
That's a great question. Because I feel like no matter what I say, I'll stop myself and be like, but there's this one. I can say the top three seasons that stick out to me are the 3 I was pregnant, because all I did was try to hide my bump and hide my body. And I will always remember that. And all 3 pregnancies were slightly different, but those will always stick out for me. But when it comes to scenes, you named some great ones. That wagon one was fantastic. And I actually think I would include that because it was directed by Neil Fernley, who has passed away, our beloved director who's been with the show since season 1, day 1. We miss him dearly, and his spirit is still so a part of our show, and his son now writes on our show. But that was an interesting day. It was very hot. The horse got stung by a wasp and went berserk and went like running out to the field. It was also the same week as Hearties' family reunion. I think we were running behind. The Hallmark team was visiting. There was just 1,000 things happening that day, and things were going wrong. Like, the horse couldn't be contained. The wasps were freaking everybody out. I think there was a nest nearby, so everyone was getting stung. But it was also such an important moment for what was going on narratively at that time. And I remember that amongst all this, with all the chaos happening, Kevin and I disagreed with Neil about why Faith would fall. Because he was like, we just have to go, we have to go. And we're like, but there's no reason. Like, why would Faith stand up? And then why would so we got in this big, like, not argument, but we're having this big discussion in the blistering heat. And then Neil just kind of quieted us down, and he's like, sometimes you just have to do it and trust me, it'll work. Trust me. And we were like, okay, okay. And then we did it. I love that scene. I just remember the day so well. So sometimes it's not the scene itself, it's more what was going on behind the scenes that creates a memory. So yeah, the wagon scene's one. I think the scene, this one just popped into my mind when it was my first scene that I shot with Chloe, when she walks down the stairs and goes, I'm ready for dinner. And she's got Faith's outfit on. And Amanda was in that scene too. Can't remember if there was anyone, I think, yeah, Amanda. And I just remember the second she did that, the first take we got of that, I was like, oh, she's amazing. Like I knew that. I met her and we had connected and we had run scenes, but when we filmed that, I'm like, perfect. And that was the moment where I'm like, this clicks. So that one really sticks out for me. And then I want to throw it like way back. Okay, so season 2, when we're in the hospital with Tom, that was one of my first days. Getting to work with Daniel as well. It was really, season 2 was super exciting because the show was brand new. And I showed up at the end of season 2 and I was hearing from all the other actors. I remember meeting Loretta and Johanna and Aaron, and people were like, oh, there's a fan base. Like we already have fans on this show and we've only had one season and they're called Hearties. And I just remember being like, what? Like, what's that? And there was just all this excitement because you could really feel that the show had touched a nerve in a good way. And shooting the hospital stuff was really fun because I've known Max for years. Like we had worked together before we worked together on One Calls the Heart. And I really connected with Dan, and we had so much fun shooting the hospital scenes. Martin Wood directed those episodes. And it just felt like, wow, we've got something good here. Like this is fun. This is cool. And it's time period. And so I couldn't put my finger on the reason why, but there was a lot of behind the scenes kind of like joie de vie happening in the hospital scenes in season 2. So that sticks out to me as well.
Those are all fantastic. And I love the stories behind them. And I learned something new.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. And one day I'll have to do, I would love to just do a day where I talk about all my memories. Like I watch a scene and I'll just let the memories flow, because that's what's so cool about watching, when clips pop up on social media and you'll watch something from years ago, you'll be like, oh, I remember that day. I remember what I was thinking. It was pouring rain. Like those are the things that stick with me.
Didn't you talk about doing a watch along on Facebook with your Facebook group?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I have.
We're for that.
You'll laugh. The DVD set that I have from Edify is actually propping up my laptop right now. But I mean, they're kind. They give us whatever they have, whatever they're selling at the moment. And I do have the recent box DVD set. And I was thinking like it would be fun. I don't know how to do it, and I need some time when I don't have children running around. But it would be fun to go back and rewatch. Maybe not the whole thing, because let's be honest, there's a lot of episodes now. But even just to watch some like pivotal episodes with a group, I think it would be fun, because it's also interesting to me to hear the Hearties' reaction to the show as well, because there's so much, what was going on at the time, what was going on in the world when these seasons came out, and so yeah, it would be an interesting conversation. I'm a very sentimental person. I don't always show it, but things really sit deep within me, and I'm very sentimental about this show particularly, and everyone on it, because we're all close friends. And it is funny looking back. Sometimes you're just like, everyone looks so young. Like, so I would love to go back and revisit it, but I don't know if I would do much for the narrative. I think I would just be overwhelmed with memories of shooting. But yeah, I want to do that. I need to figure out how, but I do want to do that.
Oh, we'll tune in. Can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder.
So going to this week's episode, if viewers could only take away one feeling after watching episode 8, what would you hope that is?
Excited. I love episode 8 because we see some new dynamics at play. There's a lot going on for, I'd say, Chris's character, Edie, Bill, there's Melissa, there's a lot of things happening, but I do love what the film brings out in the town. And so it's exciting. I think you'd walk away from it feeling excited and kind of like you've never seen an episode like this before.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this episode, especially being a film student in high school. Well, I took film class in high school my sophomore year, and then I took another film class in college. And I have just always loved film, so I think it'll be an
You're like
amazing episode.
me.
Yeah.
I know that you should have seen my Google searches when we were filming this. I was like looking up Louise Brooks and just
Yeah.
all the icons of the 20s and 30s. And yeah, silent cinema is
Mhm.
really unique because you don't have the advantage of actually speaking. So you have to portray everything just with your body and your emotion. And yeah, I'm with you. It's amazing. So I hope Hearties enjoy it as well because we
I'm sure
love
we will.
making it.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Dr. Carter has seen so much change and so much growth before her. Now, with the new Benson Hill residents here and helping little Jack with his diabetes, do you feel, and I've seen it, God, since watching When You First Came, do you feel like Faith's confidence within herself has grown within this, specifically this season? And what's been your greatest takeaway now seeing her confidence grow?
Ooh, yes, her confidence has grown. Um, I mean, this kind of goes back to what we were discussing with Molly. It's in knowing that the infirmary is as busy as it is and has become more cutting edge when it comes to dealing with diabetes and getting the accreditation that we needed at our clinic. I think yes, there's definitely confidence. I would love to see a hospital in Hope Valley eventually. I think we're going to get to the point where we have to call ourselves a hospital. We have expanded the beds throughout the years. We've added the curtains. So we're kind of suggesting it's a hospital, but I think with the Benson Hills residents coming in and with all the fire victims, it's getting to a point where we need to continue expanding here, and the town expands with each passing season. We have new residents. We have a traffic light. We saw the cars come in. But yeah, has Faith's confidence grown? Absolutely. She showed up a young, not naive, but a young, passionate nurse, and she grew the infirmary, and it's completely different from where it was when she started. And I think there's a ways to go, but she's in charge. I don't think she feels the need to look up to anybody or look to anyone for answers. She's the person with the answers now. And it's fun getting to play someone who's confident, but who's earned that confidence.
I think too, like from this last one, I feel like she's starting to understand that people are really truly depending on her, like more greatly, especially now with all of the fire victims and everybody truly depending on a doctor that they can trust.
Absolutely. And I think when a scene that really sticks out to me there is Gowan walking in, just not knowing what the status of his son is. I mean, talk about like a soul crushing moment when I loved that scene. I love getting to work with Martin. But yeah, the infirmary is interesting because you see people in their worst moments. You see most of the characters, a lot of the worst moments we've seen on the show involve a medical storyline, but also some of the scenes with the most heart have happened there. I'm thinking back to like when Hrothgar and Loretta's performances, when they
Yeah.
kind of discovered their love for each other, when we thought that, Ned was not doing well and he was very gravely ill in that bed. It's a really interesting place for connection. I know I'm kind of like diverting away from your comment.
No, you're good. You're good.
But yeah, it means that set means a lot to me, but it means a lot to so many characters. And I always say that it's the place where you get the most honest conversations, because sometimes a character will come in and they maybe haven't told the truth to their spouse, or they're worried. And so much of what Faith has to do is kind of like life coaching or therapy. It's sort of like needing, sometimes people come in and what they really need is a confidence boost. So she's gotten pretty good at giving those marching orders of like, you can do this, you're okay. So that's important to me as well.
Yeah, I have to say real fast, that scene that you mentioned with Gowan and his son and Nathan with Elizabeth, it was just so emotionally charged. You guys did a really amazing job.
Thank you. It was emotionally charged, and I'm really proud of that scene because so often we have big medical ideas and then we have to kind of dial it back a little bit just because of the show and the nature of the show. But I really was proud of that one because he was very injured, and the way James played that injury, it was scary. Like in that moment when the
Uh-huh.
pulled up, it was like a crisis moment, and it's really nice getting to portray that where we're all in that heightened, the stakes are super high and we don't know if everything's going to be okay. And when the community, everyone pulls together, those moments are big. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was the moment Faith was gearing up to leave and be with Lily, and then boom, crisis shows up at the doorstep. Yeah, those scenes, they're meaningful.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So Kevin jokes sometimes that certain scenes maybe fall off, logistics, showrunners change. I'm curious if there's a character from Faith's past or a storyline that you've always wondered if that could be revisited. And if not, do you have something on your wish list for Faith going forward?
Ooh, great questions. Sure, there's a couple things. We know that Faith has a bit of a tumultuous relationship with her father. That played out many, many, many years ago, but it would be interesting to check in. I really miss the characters Clara and Jesse. I
Yes.
would love to see them. I would love to catch up with them. I'd love Faith to see, what are you doing with your lives? I know they're homesteading. Do they have kids now? I imagine they probably do. It would just, I think that would be such a well-earned catch up, for all of us. Um, I'm just trying to think if there's any other ones. I mean, so many. I'm curious about Peter, her initial fiance that tried to woo her back and away from Hope Valley. Where's he? Who did he marry? What's he doing? Obviously, our show's not going to be able to bring everyone from the past back, but we have done a good job at doing that from time to time. Obviously, we had Brooke come back. Max Lloyd Jones showed up a couple seasons ago. And it's just so deserved when that happens. So I'm all for that. A character from the past in any regard, I know will be appreciated so much from everybody. So yeah, and in terms of a wish list, I do, as Rachel said, I would love to see Faith out kind of in maybe out being a human a bit more than just a doctor. I do think it would be interesting also to see her in a love situation once again, and just to see how much she has matured. I think it would be fun at this point. And also when things went awry, um yeah, obviously things have gone awry quite a few times. I was going to say with one name, but it's like, okay, yeah, it's been a bumpy road and a long journey. Uh but yeah, I do think you would get a different iteration of Faith, and I would love to see how love can fit into a life with a child.
And you know what? Maybe it's where the two worlds come together. Maybe it is somebody from the past and things are
Yeah.
just different now, or
Mhm.
who knows?
Very, very possible. Very possible.
Just got some great options.
Totally.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So Juan told us that he did a chemistry read with Miranda before getting cast. And so I was curious if you all did anything like that together, or how you prepared for the silent movie scene, because obviously that's going to be even more over the top. And we hope that there's more fun stuff coming up between the two of you. Did you do anything kind of like a chemistry type thing?
We did not do a chemistry read, um, because early on they were still there was a lot to be figured out, and I think when you start casting early on in the season, you're dealing with the first number of episodes. You're not dealing with what's happening at the end. In that moment, the directors who oversee that casting process are doing their block, their episodes. So at that point, obviously, Miranda's character needed somebody really interesting from the past who was, you have a bit of a triangle situation going on. So the chemistry had to be there. You have to believe that these characters were obviously once together, and potentially in love. We don't know. We don't know. Um, but no, once he was cast, I think I was emailed right away about who it was, and we met on set. So we actually had quite a number of days where we were again, working at the same time, but not in the same scenes. So we did have lunch together at work earlier on in the season, got to know each other. We know a lot of people in common, but had never actually worked together. And yeah, there were whispers about how our characters might come together, may not, but nothing is ever solid until you get that set of scripts before a block starts. So often we're told one thing, another happens. Sometimes it all works out perfectly, but we knew that our characters would come together for some reason. Weren't exactly clear on the specifics at the time, but we had lunch, got to know each other, and he's fantastic. I adore him. He's an amazing actor.
What was really funny when we were doing our recap, we were like, I wish there was somebody else that they could give to Fernando. And they were thinking, the only single woman in that age range is Faith. That's it.
I'm surrounded by couples.
Yeah, and then we saw him sit, we're like,
Who calls the couples? What about Faith? No, it's funny. The second his character showed up, he texted me, and Juan texted me, and he was like, oh, look, like I just showed up in the town as a single man, and like everyone's like, Faith, 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 Faith. He's like, I have all these messages. Like, what? Yeah. Like nothing, we haven't had a scene together. I'm like, welcome to When Calls the Heart, my friend. Yeah, the second funny. A single person shows up and there's another single person, everyone's plotting. That's how the show works. And he was like, oh wow, amazing. And then he's like, well, wait till episode 8.
Yeah. You're not on the Hallmark channel for nothing here. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I'm happy you guys chatted. Yeah, he's wonderful. Yeah. He fit right into our show. And I mean our show is, I think at this point, it could be intimidating. There's a ton of actors, and you show up as the new character in town and you have to meet like 60 people. Yeah. And everyone knows each other very well. Yeah. And yeah, he just fit right in. It's like he had always been there. He's great guy.
Yeah. Well, it was such smart casting because I feel like he's very similar to the character, the way they've written it, and his performance very similar to Lucas. Mm. Or like Edie has a type.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. And he's got a flair unlike anyone we've really seen. Like I don't think there's another male character on our show that reminds me of him at all. He's kind of his own unique aura person.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see what happens next. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So you have had lots of other exciting opportunities outside of Hope Valley. You did Supergirl, and of course you've got a great array of rom-coms. Is there anything that you still would like to pursue that you haven't had a chance to in the industry?
Yes. I have a degree in English literature. I love writing. And I do have an interest in the producing, directing side of things. I think a lot of us do. And actually on our show a few years ago, we started a shadowing program. So actors could shadow directors just to learn the ropes, because we've all been doing this for so long. And we're all so close with the directors as well that it just seems like such a no-brainer that we can all learn different sides of our industry while we're working on the same show. I would love to get behind the scenes a bit more. Obviously, right now at this particular time in my life, I have 3 very young children. So every spare second that I'm not working, auditioning, shooting something, I like to be with them. So it's hard because I've had offers to shadow directors on MOWs for Hallmark, which I would love to do, but it's hard to commit to 3 to 4 weeks away from your family to shadow. So it's something I have an ambition to do, but I think I just need all my kids need to be in school, in elementary school. Once they're there, it'll free up a lot more time to kind of explore other creative avenues in this industry. But I love this industry. It's all I've ever done. And I love telling stories, and I love characters. And a lot of us now from our show, I mean, if anyone watched Ben Rosenbaum's Christmas movie, there are a number of us popping up in there, Kevin, Pascal. We all have this desire to kind of cross into each other's universes a little bit more. And a number of us are also pitching ideas right now. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I'd say that almost everybody on our show in the cast has a keen interest to get behind the scenes a little bit more.
That's exciting. Can't wait to see what happens.
We'll see. Yeah.
So we know how much you love playing Faith, but we also know how much you love this show. And so I'm curious, what storyline other than Faith's are you most eager for fans to see in the remaining episodes of the season?
Ooh, that is a really good question. Did you just think of that?
No,
Or
it's number
that was fine.
17 on my
What's number
list.
17? Number 17 is a very good question. Uh, Highland, LJ. LJ. I mean, all of the kids, it's so interesting, especially when they're young and they're kind of transitioning into those elementary years. There's a lot to explore. But yeah, LJ, he's got some good stuff coming up, and he worked so hard this season. So keep an eye out for some LJ stories.
That's exciting. And he's done a fantastic job. I loved that moment with him and Chloe and Loretta, where he just that dry sense of having this sticker on his elbow. It was so good.
Yeah.
So we're loving seeing Highland this season.
He's great. He also, at one point, I don't know if this is common knowledge, he did bump his head at one point in the middle of shooting a very busy block. Had to go to the hospital, get his head checked out. He was fine, but so he had missed a day of filming and came back, and we had to rearrange the schedule ever so slightly. But I bought him a little squishmallow, and I was like, sorry, I'm not a real doctor, because I would love to take care of you if I could. But that boy, yeah, he's a trooper. All of the kids are. All of the kids are. And it's always so fun getting to see their growth.
Thanks for sharing that moment. We're excited to see all of what's to come for Highland.
When season 13 closes, is Faith exactly where she wants to be or exactly where she needs to be? And of course, that's with no spoilers.
Yes. There's a nice, I think Faith's final moment is a nice, it's sort of like a tying a bow.
Okay.
There's a nice nugget. There's a nice little moment that captures a lot of what she's going through and what she's been through in this season. And I haven't seen the final episode. I hope it's still there. But yeah, it's nice when you get those little moments where you can kind of cement everything in like a couple of lines and just kind of know that this is how we're moving into the future. So you'll get something, a little nugget.
I'm so excited for that. I think it'll be great. Thank you. All right, Hearties. I think that concludes the interview with Andrea Brooks. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share what your favorite moment with Faith has been in season 13 and what you are looking forward to most about her story the last 4 episodes. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of my episodes, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube and follow along on Spotify, and make sure to hit the bell so you are alerted when those new episodes come. You can also find the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Swing My Heart Podcast, and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Love y'all. Bye.